there's a white supremacist by the name of J.T. Reddy, and he has made it his mission in life to go after undocumented immigrants. He basically gathered a group of his friends to do their own vigilante justice, their own version of border patrol, and he stockpiled weapons. Very scary guy. Well, it turns out that he committed a murder-suicide. He killed 4 people in his home and then he killed himself. It turns out he killed his girlfriend's daughter, his daughter's boyfriend, and also the daughter's 2-year-old toddler.
I think, didn't he kill them in her home actually, or her family's home rather than his own?
They were actually living together at the time.
I see.
Yeah.
And it looked from the name that she was Hispanic too, which was odd. I mean, it looked like her last name and her family's last name was Hispanic. But you know, this is Arizona.
This is in Arizona,
where they're fomenting hatred for immigrants, where they're encouraging these vigilante border patrols, where there's, you know, I mean, clearly this was not a political act. It was an act of a crazy person. But we're just creating this hysteria and hatred and violence in our culture, and you're not allowed to talk about that. That's weird to me.
Absolutely. And another thing that we don't talk about enough is the fact that in this country, people are allowed to stockpile weapons. People who are, you know, self-proclaimed neo-Nazis, people who are proud of their violent history, their violent actions, and everybody just kind of says, oh, well, it's your constitutional right, stockpile those weapons. There's nothing wrong with it. By the way, going back to what you said about his girlfriend, she was a 47-year-old by the name of Lisa Medeiros. So yeah, she has a Latin last name, but I don't know.
Right, I don't either. But you know, I looked at some of his websites, and he was really talking about a lot of violent stuff. That's the other thing that, you know, in any other country in the world I can think of, developed country, if some guy's putting up websites saying we ought to shoot this and use our guns to defend that, they wouldn't be allowed to buy all these weapons. But remember, we have Republican presidential candidates saying lock and load and all that stuff. So I guess that's considered acceptable here.
Right, we're taught to be proud of our gun culture. In fact, that is one of the things that it's part of our identity at this point, right? And as soon as you talk about, hey, you know, let's not ban guns, but let's at least find a way to pass, you know, some sort of legislation that at least regulates it in a better way, keeps better track of people who have guns, make sure that people can't buy guns at these gun shows without, you know, a license and all. No. People get very up in arms about that. And it's because the NRA is an extremely powerful lobby and they have the ability to do anything. As soon as you come out talking about cases like this where guns are used in a horrible way, they just immediately, like, they put their guard up and say, no, you have the right to have as many guns as you want. In fact, let's have teenagers hold guns. Let's have college students take guns on their college campuses.
You know, I actually like guns, which disturbs a lot of my liberal friends, but I do. I like going to the firing range. I think it's interesting, but, you know, I have to get a driver's license to drive my car. Mm-hmm. You know, I can go in and buy a deadly weapon or a dozen of them, and that's insane. I don't have to do anything, prove anything. That I think is absolute craziness.
The fact that you like guns actually doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I totally understand people who like using guns, like to go hunting, like to go to a shooting range. That's fine, that's perfect. But I want to make sure that we regulate it properly so the wrong people don't get a hold of guns, right?
Of course, that seems so moderate and reasonable.